Oh yes, boys. It's that time of the season again. Premier League predictions are back. So obviously the Premier League starts on Friday. Manchester United against Fulham with opening game. And in today's video, of course, it's time to get into predictions, man. Make sure you get in the comments. This video every year is always super interactive on the channel. Get involved. Let me know your predictions. Obviously, don't give me your full 20 teams, but let me know, top 4 relegation teams, who's going to make Europe 5th to 7th in terms of Europa League as well. Drop it in comments, man. I'm going to be reading them all, respond to them all, and it's a good debate topic every year, Premier League predictions. So, as I say, I'll give you boys my thoughts in this video. Make sure you give me your thoughts in the comments as well. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into it, boys. So, I'm going to give you my title winners. Arsenal. We're going straight into the deep end, man. Can Man City do it 5 years in a row? Yes, they can. 100% they can. Pep has the drive and the determination along with his squad that he's built over the last 6, 7, 8 years that he's been at the club. So, no doubt, they can do it again. And they are obviously going to be the hot favourites again this year. I have no doubts about that. However, I just feel like, everyone's human. And 4 years of winning, they've won everything. They've won the league 4 years in a row, but they've won, the Champions League within that as well. They've pretty much won everything. And a lot of their players have won everything they can now at City. Now, obviously, they haven't done a lot of business in the summer. They brought in that guy Savio. But apart from that, I think he came from the French league, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think he came from the French league. So they brought him in, but yeah, I particularly don't think City are going to win the league this year. I think it's going to be Arsenal, man. I think it's Arsenal's year. They've got close a couple of times. They've brought in Ricardo Calafiori, which is from the Euros. I don't know much about him, but from the Euros, he looked a very, very good defender. They've splashed the cash on him, brought him in, and he looks, very, very accomplished defender, and, it gives him another player in that position, some more strength and depth, right? And that's what we know City have. They've always had, right? They've nearly got 2 amazing squads. Arsenal, you look at them and you think, I made a video a few weeks ago talking about Arsenal and how they, I believe, and many people believe, they need that number 9. They need that number 9, man. Jesus is a great player. He's done brilliant for both City and Arsenal in this time. But is he a clinical striker that's going to win you the Premier League title? I just feel like if they had someone different up there, someone more clinical, like an Ivan Toney, like a Victor Osimhen, someone like that. Because Arsenal, as I said in the last video, they have a very high chance creation every season. But they say the 7 or 8 points that they missed out on last season, man, from silly games they dropped them in. They wouldn't. I think if they had an accomplished striker up front, really, really clinical, that bags you 25, 30 goals a season, and you can rely on them for that, I feel they would have, won those games, and that would have potentially took them to a league title last year or the year before. So yeah, for me, boys, this is Arsenal's year, man. I think they're going to finish first. I've actually got Man City in 3rd, and I hate saying this as a United fan because I don't want to keep putting Liverpool up the league, but I believe they're going to finish 2nd this year. I think it's going to be Arsenal first, Liverpool 2nd. I think Arne Slot's going to have a really, really good first season with the club. Klopp's left him in a good position, hasn't he? It's not like some clubs where, you see a manager leave under bad terms, or not even under bad terms, but they leave under the squad's not in a good situation, and the new manager coming in has to deal with a lot, off the bat. But I think Slot, as I say, Liverpool haven't brought in any business yet, as far as I know. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see before the end of the window will they do anything. But the minute the squad's looking pretty good if you're a Liverpool fan at the minute. I'm sure, as always, any fan, you want your team to add players to it, of course. Klopp left Slot with quite a juicy squad, man. So I'm sure they probably will make 1 or 2 additions before the window's out, maybe. But yeah, they're looking good, and I think they look good in pre-season as well with some of their players, man. And obviously Salah without the Mo Salah without the long hair, man. It looks crazy. You can't recognise him, man. But I hope he's just unrecognisable on the pitch this year from a United point of view. But let's see what happens, man. I'm going Liverpool 2nd, Man City 3rd. And then, yeah, this is the moment, boys, isn't it? Do I put my Manchester United team in 4th place? No, I'm not. I have to do these predictions based upon what I think will happen rather than what I want to happen. For me, 4th place this year, I'm going to say Tottenham. Yeah, I'm saying Tottenham, boys. Yeah, I think they were good last year under Ange. They were leading the Premier League for the first couple months. Then they fell off. Injuries had a little bit of a problem with, or a bit of a helping hand in that when so you Doggy and Van den Ven and Amaro got, either suspended or injured. However, I think they're going to have a good season. They brought in Dominic Solanke from Bournemouth. Now, he's done great stuff at Bournemouth. How will he adapt to the step up and playing for a bigger club? Let's see. But I do believe he'll do well for them. So, yeah, and they've brought in a few other signings as well, man. But I think, for me, I think Tottenham get 4th this season. I think Ange is cooking something up. Yeah, I think if you're a Spurs fan, listen, the thing with Spurs is always, they're always associated with not winning trophies and bottling games. Not saying that's not going to happen this year, but I just think they will sneak in down on a top 4 spot. And, yeah, for me, Spurs are 4th this season. Alright, boys, then 5th place, man. Do I go United? I'm going to put Manchester United in 5th. I'm going to put Manchester United in 5th, man. We've obviously brought in decent deals with the likes of Euro. Obviously, he's got injured, though. Hoyland's out for a considerable amount of time as well, another month or so. It's not looking great, but we have brought in Mazraoui, we have brought in De Ligt, and that's going to add strength and depth to our team as well, which we desperately need in defensive positions, especially in centre-back and left-back. And then, yeah, I'm going to go 5th. I'd love to say I back us to get 4th, but I don't know, man. I really don't know. I'm saying 5th Manchester United this season. 6th place, I'm going to say Chelsea. Maresca, listen, Chelsea fans are I've seen the reaction, man. Chelsea fans are kind of, Maresca gets Leicester promoted last season, and then he comes to Chelsea. I'm seeing a lot of, Chelsea fans going in and wondering, why have they appointed him? He's got a team promoted from the Championship into the Premier League, but does that give him the credentials to go and manage Chelsea? And obviously, I think many Chelsea fans with Poch's strong end of the season maybe want him to stay, but I think, Poch left, with a mutual understanding with the board, didn't he? So, it was maybe a case of Poch just had enough of the club and wanted to go on and move to something else. So, yeah, I mean, Maresca's going to be interesting. I think Chelsea this season are going to be very interesting to watch. I mean, that Pedro Neto signing, boys, is going to be very interesting to see how he plays for Chelsea. He's a top quality player, very direct and dangerous off that wing. So he hopefully will take a little bit of that load off Cole Palmer as well in the Chelsea front line. So I'm going to go Chelsea 6th this season. 7th place. This is where it gets tough because I've a number of teams. I've got Newcastle. They're not playing European football this season, so I feel like they have a chance of getting back into a European place as well. Maybe even higher. I mean, if you're a Newcastle fan, get in the comments, let me know, man. Do you back your team to maybe even sneak in the Champions League places this year? You've done it before, but then obviously once you were in the Champions League, we obviously seen that your squad was struggling with the amount of games you were playing, but this season you're only playing one a week. You're not in Europe, so it'll be interesting. Obviously we've got Aston Villa. They are in Europe this season, obviously playing Champions League football. Is their squad going to hold? I mean, they have brought in the likes of Onana from Everton and Ian Maatsen from Dortmund, so they're great signings for Villa, in my opinion. They really are. They add strength and depth to the left side with, I think Luca Digne was there before. Ian Maatsen's going to be an upgrade there, and obviously Onana, we know from his time in Everton, he needed that step up, didn't he? Yeah, it's like a bit like Newcastle, man. Newcastle obviously struggled once they got into the Champions League in terms of the many games they were playing. Will Villa, kind of experience something similar? Potentially so. I'm going to say Villa 8th, alright? So Manchester United 5th, Chelsea 6th, Villa are going to be 8th. 7th place, I'm going to go with West Ham. They're my dark horse this year. You boys know I always do a dark horse for these tournaments, or for these for the Premier League predictions every year. A team that maybe people are sleeping on, or a team that's kind of, people don't think are going to do that. Maybe a team that I think is going to do better than a lot of people think will do. That's West Ham this year, man. They brought in Wan-Bissaka from Manchester United, who's obviously a defensive fullback, adds competition at right back alongside Koufal, adds strength to their squad and depth as well. And so yeah, Wan-Bissaka, I believe he'll be a good signing. And then obviously they've brought in Nicholas Füllkrug, who we've seen him for Dortmund in the Champions League. We've seen him in the Euros. Very, very underrated striker in my opinion, man. He's not blessed with pace or agility, but he's got quickness of mind. And he's brilliant linking the play and bringing other players into the game. I've seen brilliant clips of him, and I've seen the games for Dortmund in the Champions League, man, where he's able to hold that ball. He's got intelligence as well, which sometimes you see with strikers where maybe they're not in the best opportunity to shoot, but they still, have a swing and a miss, or they swing at it and they miss the target, or it's a poor shot, not much power, or they don't see the surroundings. Füllkrug does. Füllkrug will shoot if he's obviously one-on-one or whatever, but if he sees someone that's in a better position than him, he's got great awareness as a striker, great vision. He can drop deep, hold the ball up for them. If he's in the box, there's a ball fizzed into him in the Champions League, I can't remember what game it was. Many strikers would have just swung and hit it, whereas he realised, well listen, my back's turned to goal here. If a defender up my backside. And there was also a moment, I can't remember what game it was, boys, in the Champions League. It might have been the semi-final, maybe, where a ball was fizzed into him. He was in the penalty box. Defender was up, behind him, defending against him. And he realised, right, well, there's a defender right behind me here. I can't really turn and shoot. I'm not in the best position to shoot. But he had that peripheral vision to see there was another player right, 5 yards from him. He did a wee half volley pass, because his first touch, by the way, is exquisite as well. Very, very good. Half volley pass into another player, man. He set him up. So, yeah, he's a very, very intelligent footballer, Füllkrug. And I think he's going to be a good signing for Villa. Can't wait to see, after a good season for Dortmund and playing in the Champions League and Euros for Germany, can't wait to see how this guy does in the Prem. So for me, West Ham, 7th place. So yeah, so to recap that, boys, 5th place Manchester United, 6th place is going to be Chelsea, 7th place West Ham, 8th place Aston Villa, and 9th place Newcastle United. That is what I'm going with. 10th place, I'm going to back Crystal Palace, alright? I know they've lost Michael Elise to obviously Bayern Munich, but I'm going to back Palace to get a top 10 finish as well, man. So, and obviously in regard to Newcastle in 9th, I think, listen, a lot of people will put them higher. That's the one team in this prediction I'm thinking, I could be very wrong on, because we know Newcastle have a good squad, and, they're not playing European football this season, so there's less of a burden on their squad. They're going to have more rest and recovery in between games, so Newcastle could finish higher, but I just feel like that's my prediction this year. I'm going to stick with it. 9th, Newcastle, 10th Crystal Palace. Right, we're going to move into my relegation teams now, and then I'm going to go with a top goal scorer, so Golden Boot winner and also Golden Glove winner, boys. Alright, so let's see what we're thinking here, man. Alright, relegation, right. So obviously we know last year, every single one of the 3 promoted teams that got up last year went straight back down, didn't they? So, and I don't like when that happens, man. I like, when there's different teams. I like to see the promoted teams stay up for at least a year, because I want to get to know more about them as well. And 1 year sometimes isn't enough to do that. So, but I think this year, we've obviously got Ipswich, with Leicester, with Southampton. So Leicester and Southampton are straight back up again, and obviously Ipswich join them in the 3 promoted teams, man. I believe my 3 relegated teams aren't going to include Leicester, and they're also not going to include Ipswich. I think Southampton, I'm going to put them in the bottom 3. Now, I'm not going to do an order from 20th to 18th, boys, because sometimes there might not be that much between it. I'm just going to give them a 3 relegated team. So Southampton's going to be 1 relegated team. My second relegation team, I am going to say Nottingham Forest. Yep, I'm going to go Forest this year again, man. I mean, they have brought in a few bits of business. I think recently, the last couple of years, I know my predictions, and certainly I obviously do watch a few other people's predictions videos on YouTube as well, and I think Forest have been kind of a lot of people's kind of team that may go down each year, and they've obviously brilliant that they've stayed up, man, and fair play to them for doing that. I just think this might be their year, man. So I'm going to say Forest, Southampton, and this last one, listen, I'm going to throw a curveball in the mix here, boys, but listen, it's, and listen, I really hope this doesn't happen, because I like this football club. They've been a very old football club in the Premier League. I've got, close friends that are supporters of this team, but I'm saying Everton, man. I'm saying Everton. I think they, I actually don't know what business they've done at the minute. I think they've brought in a few names, but they've brought in a guy from Lyon, I think. Jake O'Brien, is it, I think? He's an Irish centre-back, so they've added a bit of depth into their squad in defensive positions, but apart from that, I don't think they've done any business. They've lost Andre Onana, who for me was one of their best players, and obviously they've got 50 million from Villa for that, so, they need to spend, I think they spent about 20 on O'Brien, so they've got a bit of cash to spend, man. They got to use that wisely, because for me, every year I go into these predictions, I think Everton, where do their goals come from? That's the biggest thing for me, man. Everton tend to not score a lot of goals every Premier League season, and I think this year, where are they going to come from, man? Because Calvert-Lewin, we all know he's injury prone. We all know, man. You can't rely on him all season long. So, yeah, I really do worry for Everton this year. I really do, man. I think this might be the year that they go down. I think they're in big trouble. They need to bring in a few deals before the summer ends, of course. But I think Onana's a big loss for them, man, because he was a powerful midfielder, and he added a lot to that team. And I think losing him, yeah, they need to replace that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do for the remainder of this window. But yeah, that's my 3, boys. I'm going to go with Southampton, straight back down again. I'm going to go Everton. It's probably the curveball in the mix, the shock. But is it a shock? Is it a shock, though? I mean, get in the comments. If you're an Everton fan or you're a neutral fan, give me your thoughts on Everton, man. Do you share your boy Footy's, thinking here, I guess, with Everton going down as well? Let me know. But I'm going with Forest, Everton, and Southampton. But yeah, with Leicester and Ipswich, boys, especially Ipswich, man, I haven't seen any full games they've played, but I've been reading up on them. Obviously, I've done a lot of research before this video and all the football videos I do on the channel, and Ipswich seem to score a lot of goals. And I did watch the overlap the other day as well, where Carragher Scholes was on it. And listen, the mainstream media, man, we all know some points they make are good, some points they make are bad. You can't take everything. You don't worship everything ex-players say, but we all know that. I think Scholes made a good point the other day where he said, they score. Ipswich do score goals, and McKenna, we know, he's a upcoming manager. He's had interest from a few different clubs, but he decided to stay at Ipswich for this season, and rightly so, in my opinion. I mean, you've took your team up, at least stay a season in the Prem with them, man, and maybe, in a couple of years you'll be at a bigger club, but the minute he's at Ipswich, he's doing a good job there, great job there, in fact, got them promoted. I believe they'll stay up, man, because I agree with Scholes' point. I think if you're a team that comes up, you've got a good source of goals and you're scoring goals, yes, you might, be more prone to conceding them at the other end, but if you can score goals, you give yourself a great chance, man, because we see many teams coming up on the 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in the season. You're sitting there going, they are not scoring goals. Then you've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks into the season. They're still not scoring goals. Then they panic in January, maybe bring in a striker that they think will do well for them. He doesn't do well, and before they know it, it's May and they're down. They're relegated, I think Ipswich aren't going to have a problem next season scoring goals. Yes, they might leak a few defensively, but I think they're going to have enough. So I'm going, and Leicester, don't think they're going to have a great season, to be honest, but I do just see them just having it just about enough to stay in the league next season. Golden Glove and top goal scorer. Well, the thing with top goal scorer is, unless Haaland fucking gets injured, there isn't much else to look at, boys, is there, to be honest? I mean, Haaland, he's up there. You gotta back him, because the thing with the top goal scorer is, I always think in my head, boys, 3 things. you know, 3 factors I consider when I'm picking a top goal scorer for these videos every year. It's a player that's not injury prone, a player that plays in a team that's obviously got a high chance creation, and thirdly, it's obviously an individual himself. You know, what's his ability? Is he a good finisher? Haaland's got all 3 of those. He plays in a Man City team where he probably gets 3 or 4 good chances a game. He's obviously a top player himself. He knows who the net is, to say the least. He's a very, very top, probably the best world, you know, probably him and Mbappe are probably the best number 9s in the world, right? You know, not many people would argue with that. And he very, very rarely gets injured, man. And even when he does, it's not for very long. It might be a game or 2. So I think I'm going to be boring here and say Haaland. I mean, there's others in the equation, of course there is. You know, there is. I mean, Solanke, let's see what he does at Spurs, man. Because Spurs do create chances. Son of one side, they've got Kulusevski, they've got a few, you know, they've a dangerous attack, man. But let's see what they do. Brennan Johnson, they've got players there, man. Let's see what they can do and create chances for Solanke. See what he can do. I think Solanke could be up there. Don't think quite the numbers of Haaland, but he could be up there. Ivan Toney could be in the equation. Ollie Watkins could be in the equation. The thing with Watkins is though as well, I mean, obviously playing in Champions League this year as well. He's going to be playing twice a week, isn't he? So there's going to be, you know, he won't maybe be as fresh as potentially he could be whenever he's playing twice a week as well. Who else? I'm just trying to think of how I'm not missing anyone out here as well. I'd love to put players like, you know, like Rasmus in the team or in this equation, but I just don't think we're at the stage, Manchester United right now, where we're at the stage where it's just not, we don't create enough, you know. I think with us, we know Højlund can find the back of the net, you know. The times we do create him chances, he often scores. He's got a very high chance to goal conversion, if you know what I mean. When he gets a chance, he very often sticks it away, but it's just we don't create enough for him, so that's why I wouldn't put him in this conversation. For me, it's Watkins, Solanke, Haaland, probably a few other names I'm forgetting, but I think top of that tree, boys, is always Haaland, man. Unless something happens where he gets a crazy bad injury or something, I just see him being up there, you know. I think it's safe to say, unless he gets an injury, he's going to be up there. I'm going to be boring. I'm going to say Haaland. I mean, there's so many, though. Alexander Isak, Newcastle. Yet again, if they're playing 1 game a week, he'll be fresh every game. God forbid he doesn't get an injury. You never know with him either. You know, he knows the net. He's a very, very good finisher, man. Good player. So he could be up there as well. But yeah, Nicholas Füllkrug. Let's see what he does for West Ham. Let's see. Yet again, we know he can finish. Can he adapt to the Premier League and play in this West Ham team? Let's see. Don't expect him to hit the numbers that Haaland's going to hit, of course not, on any of the top strikers in the league. But let's see. There's always a surprise package, I feel like, in the league every year with goal scorers. So let's see what happens, man. Obviously, we haven't even talked about Liverpool forwards either. You know, the likes of it's a big season for Nunes. You know, what's going to happen for him, man? Is he going to suddenly change and be a more consistent and clinical striker? Let's see. But for me, yeah, I think it's going to be Haaland again, boys. Drop it in the comments, of course. Let me know who your Golden Boot winner is. Golden Glove. I could be really boring again and go Ederson. You know, because City are obviously very defensively sound usually as well. However, I'm not going to do that. We're not going to be boring. We can't go City with everything, man. City taking off credit, you know. We can't go with City with everything here. So for me, I'm going to say, for this one, Golden Glove. Definitely not Andre Onana, by the way. We're not even gonna make that joke in this video. Ooh, tough one. Tough one. I think for this one, I'd probably say, I mean, Liverpool are a very, very attacking team as well. Sometimes I do feel they're a wee bit leaky defensively, so that's why I wouldn't put Alisson as a contender for this. Golden Glove is a tough one, because it just depends on what way these teams are playing. I mean, I'd nearly say, I always find Arsenal are quite good defensively as well. Yeah, I'd probably say the Arsenal keeper. Raya. Yeah, he's a chance. Arsenal are quite good defensively. I always think City. I could easily say Ederson, because City, as I say, are City and Arsenal top 2 teams in the league. You know, I do believe so, and we all know City and Arsenal top 2 teams in the league for the last couple of years, right? And Ederson and Raya are probably safe bets for the Golden Glove, right? Because their teams are most likely to concede the least amount of shots, least amount of chances, and least amount of goals, right? These keepers face the least amount of shots every game as well. So yeah, I'm not gonna be boring and say Ederson, because we're right on Haaland for Golden Boot. So we'll go with Raya. Massive thanks for watching, boys. Another year, Premier League predictions. We'll come back to this at the end of the season and see where your boy went wrong, where your boy hopefully went right. Let's see. But yeah, really appreciate you boys watching, man. If you're new to the FK Sports channel, we have so much planned for this year. I've got obviously Premier League watch-alongs, a lot of different football watch-alongs over the year ahead with Champions League, maybe some Europa League, because obviously my team Manchester United are in that, unfortunately. Obviously, as I say, Premier League watch-alongs as well, and just these videos, man. We've got videos dropping. It's always at least one video a week on this channel regularly you can expect, whether it'll be, you know, more transfer news in the next couple of weeks before the window ends. It could be match reaction stuff. It could be literally anything. Some tactical sort of videos like I've done with the Euro one, where I said, you know, how Euro is going to impact United next season, how we're going to take us to the next level, things like that. Obviously Euro's injured now, but you get the point. You know, things like that. You know, it might be a video I might be making one in a few weeks actually about Dominic Solanke and how I think he's going to take Spurs up a level. But yeah, videos like that as well. So yeah, get subscribed if you're new. We really appreciate all our new subscribers as well. And get in the comments. This is the interactive video, man. Of course, I want to hear your boys' thoughts. Give me your top 4, top goal scorers, shock of the season. You know, mine's West Ham. Who's yours? And obviously let me know your relegated teams as well, of course. So yeah, thanks for watching, boys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Smack a like, subscribe if you're new. See you all very, very soon, man. Peace out.